This is Ken Carpenter welcoming you to the Bing Crosby Show, transcribed from Hollywood.
Moonlight becomes you. It goes with your hair. You certainly know the right thing to wear. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bing Crosby again. Well, now here's a song that certainly seems appropriate for this time of the year. The wintry breezes do blow. Looks like a cold, cold winter. Plenty of ice and snow. But we'll keep the love light in our hearts aglow. Looks like a long, long winter. Baby, what do we care? As long as we have this love of ours to share. It's gonna be cold outside, gonna be warm inside. So we'll cuddle up by a cozy fire, side by side. Looks like a cold, cold winter. Summer is far away. Until then I love you more and more each day.
Looks like a cold, cold winter.
Plenty of ice and
cold
snow
out there.
but we
keep
the love light in our hearts aglow.
Looks like a long, long winter.
But baby, what do we care? As long as we have this love of ours to share.
Gonna be cold outside.
Record breaking.
Gonna be warm inside.
Temperature taken. So we'll cuddle up by a cozy fire, side by side. Looks like a cold, cold winter.
Yes, and summer is far away, away.
But until then I'll love you more and more each day.
Gonna be cold outside.
The birds will beat it.
Gonna be warm inside.
Our love will heat it. So we'll cuddle up by a cozy fire, side by side. Looks like a cold, cold winter.
Yes, and summer is far away, away.
But until then I'll love you more and more each day. Gonna keep you warm until winter goes away. The other day, while I was browsing among the bookshelves in the Satter bookstore on Hollywood Boulevard, and I was waiting for the clerk to look the other way so I could stack several copies of Fred Allen's book, Treadmill to Oblivion, on top of Bob Hope's new book, Have Tux Will Travel, I happened to notice a hefty volume called Famous First Facts. It was written and compiled by Joseph Nathan Kane, and it's a complete record of first happenings, first discoveries and inventions in the United States. Now, here is good stuff, I thought, handy material to employ at social gatherings when conversation reaches the inevitable cul-de-sac. First, I flipped the pages back to the index of names, hoping to find out if any Crosby was given credit for doing something first. And sure enough, there was. There was a gent by the name of H.V. Crosby who edited the first crossword puzzle book in America in 1924. Unhappily, I can claim no relationship to H.V., even though our first initials are the same, but if someone ups and asks who wrote the first crossword puzzle book, why, I'm certainly going to be ready to nonchalantly drop a Crosby into their lap. Making a note of this on my cuff, the clerk was still looking the other way, I turned to the section under G and ran my finger down to golf. Being interested more than a little in the game, I hope to find such extraneous but interesting facts as, who made the first hole-in-one, who was the first man to throw his golf clubs in the creek, what individual was the first person to lose a golf ball, and so on. Well, I didn't find any of these, but I did see an item which held my interest. It was a short paragraph which stated that the first wooden golf tee was invented way, way back in 1899 by George Grant. George obtained a patent, and it was numbered 638920 for his clever bit of whittling, and his invention is described thusly. I quote from my notes on my cuff. It said, a wooden tee with a tapering base portion and concave shoulder to hold the golf ball, close quote. Well, from these words, we can readily see that the wooden golf tee hasn't changed since 1899, and no one, not even the Russians, have invented a better way to hold a golf ball off the ground. However, you might wonder, as I did, why it took so long for George Grant's golf gimmick to catch on. Prior to the 1930s, or some 30 years after the patent was granted, golfers were still using a mound of damp sand to elevate the latex. This gritty ingredient, found in concrete and spinach, was soon spread over the grassy tee and gave the turf a mottled and mangy look, and it also gave the greenskeepers the heebie-jeebies, worrying about the blades on their lawnmowers getting dulled and chopped up. Also, I'm sure that many arguments were started and friendly foursomes broken up by the use of sand tees, for I've seen many a golfer fill his pocket with sand to be used surreptitiously on the fairways while his opponents had their back turned. If caught in the act, of course, he could always claim that his ball had come to rest on an anthill, or, they call it a break of the game, so to speak. You can't do this with a wooden tee. Wooden tee ain't never going to pass for no anthill, or even a miniature mushroom. So I doffed my pith helmet to this American who took a piece of pine and a jackknife, and he fashioned something to keep golfers honest on the fairways. And the hat I raise in his honor has 4 of his wooden tees stuck in the hatband, I might add. But getting along with some more first facts, here are a few which might fit into your interest category. For instance, if you're writing a thesis on platypuses, you might like to know that the first duck-billed platypus was exhibited in this country on July 15th, 1922, at Bronx Park in New York City. Aren't you glad to hear that? Thought you'd be. And keeping in the general locality, the first zipper was invented in Hoboken, New Jersey by Gideon Sunback. Gideon Sunback in 1906. From the horticultural section of Famous First Facts, and at the risk of getting nasty letters from Florida, I submit evidence that the first orange was grown in the United States at Riverside, California. Before the orange, I guess folks used to squeeze each other before breakfast. Of course, there's no need, of course, to squeeze oranges even now. The juice comes from fresh frozen, that stuff. But those of you who are chamber music enthusiasts, you might like to know that 100 years ago, the first calliope was manufactured by the American Steam Music Company. The invention of the steam calliope somehow seems to lead us to the invention of the earmuff. Don't know how that ties up, but this bit of Yankee ingenuity was fashioned in the state of Maine by Chester Greenwood on March 13th, 1877. But now, to top off this list of famous American firsts with a little dessert, I refer, of course, to the first ice cream sundae, which originated in 1897 in a pharmacy in Ithaca, New York. This apothecary shop was across the street from a saloon in the Ithaca Hotel, and as the bar was closed on Sunday, thirsty patrons went to the drugstore where this all-American delicacy came into being. I presume that the habitués of the grog shop could have a choice of either olive or an onion on top of their sundaes instead of the cherry. This would keep them purists. Well, the notes in my cuff have run out, but the next time I drop into the bookstore to browse, I'll crib a few more gems of this sort. I can hardly wait to find out who was the first American to eat a banana split or a 3-decker sandwich. Must have been, of course, a real gastronomic pioneer. And who ate the first parsnip, and why? How shall we get along to music? There's a song called The River. This was an Italian, the song that some enterprising fellow over here put some American lyrics to. It's rather an unusual tune.
The river, river, river flowing, fierce and strong. The river flowing down the mountain sings this song. Come follow me, and I will lead you to your destiny. I talk and talk and talk and talk to the stream, although I know I'm only talking to a dream. I still can see that it will lead me to my destiny. My heart cries, come back to me, I'm lost without you. My heart dies a little more each day without you. I'm like a ship that's caught within a whirlpool and doomed to drift forever in the storm. Like the river that keeps rushing to the sea, this heart of mine keeps pounding, pounding restlessly. Oh, love of mine, as long as there's a breath of life in me, I'll wait for you until eternity. And like the river that keeps rushing to the sea, this heart of mine keeps pounding, pounding restlessly. Oh, love of mine, as long as there's a breath of life in me, I'll wait for you until eternity.
And so we conclude for tonight. Hope you enjoyed what we had to sing for you and what we had to say. Hope also that you'll be listening again tomorrow night at the same time, same station.
Moonlight becomes you. It goes with your hair. You certainly know the right thing to wear. Moonlight becomes you. I'm thrilled at the sight. I could get so romantic tonight.
This is Ken Carpenter saying goodnight to you all and reminding you that Bing Crosby can be heard Monday through Friday, transcribed from Hollywood.